Welcome into the Cam District Podcast, episode number 163, presented by Hair Club, baby.
What up, man? What's going on?
What's going down with you?
Nothing, dude. I had a good weekend. I had a good weekend.
Okay.
I had a good weekend.
Well, you're dressed like a
lumberjack?
today. Well, kind of. I mean, you got your flannel shirts. You know, Cam's had this one scarf.
Yeah.
For like probably 10 to 15 years, and it's come out now. I mean, this is the first day that it's come out. Well, no, it's just the first day you come out with your scarf that you tend to do.
I like
every
the scarf.
Year.
It's nice. It keeps my neck warm.
It's a little long.
It's a little long. Might need to wash it.
It's a very long scarf.
Man, I had a good weekend, man. We chilled out.
What'd you do?
Dude,
you were kind of quiet this weekend.
Christmas out the wazoo. We're just getting shit done. You know, I don't know, watching hockey, watching the college football, you know, hanging with the pups. I barbecued a little bit. You know, it was so nice out in St. Louis where, like, I just wanted to I just get obsessed with it. I want to do a little prime rib.
Obsessed with
this barbecue. We're having people over for Christmas for the first time in a while, for a long time, because now we could actually entertain people. And, you know, I want to cook, and I want it to be right because I don't want to look like a jackass. Yeah. So, you know, I'm learning. I'm going to do the prime rib, and I wanted to do it over the weekend, but I didn't. But I've been
got
barbecuing.
To practice that first.
I know.
You can't just do it for the first time.
Yeah,
Let me explain to you a couple of things about this.
Would you teach me, please?
No, I will. Yeah. I will, because prime rib, there's a certain technique that you need. And I may put that up on my YouTube channel, actually, just to kind of help you out with that. Because, Cam, when people come over for Christmas or Thanksgiving, man, there's like extra pressure in terms of how the meal comes out, dude. You cannot mess this up. You'll ruin someone's holiday.
He'll be all right. Oh, a bunch of booze. But, yeah, no, that we, again, didn't do much. I know you had a little AAA thing you did last night, but I did watch a lot of hockey, man. And
did you?
And that Toronto-Winnipeg game was out of control. Yeah. Awesome. Guys are crushing each other. Jason Spezza is going to get fucking dang great guy, by the way. Played with him in juniors. Gigantic in the OHL.
Did he knee Pionk in the face?
Dude, he motherfucked him. Yeah, he did. Pionk kind of fell. And yeah, but when you're that even committed to a hit like that, and a guy falls, you don't dive under to get him. Just like in football now, when the guy falls, like, you don't.
No, I know.
You're gonna get a penalty. Like, you shouldn't do that. And I think, and especially Spezza.
Listen,
he kind of went off on a little bit.
Wayne Simmons was going a little crazy.
Well, if I'm Wayne Simmons, I'm pissed.
I don't blame him
because there's a knee on knee too, which is dirty. Somebody got it. What's his name?
That was Pionk too, man.
Pionk kneed him, and that was a knee, dude. It is what it is.
Yeah,
that was on quite a bit. That was on. Who was that? Because he got damn.
I'm trying to think.
Sorry, guys, and it's going to torch you.
Kerhook or something.
Well, it doesn't matter. But those guys kicked the shit out of each other, and Winnipeg ended up winning that game.
6-3. All of a sudden, Matthews has 15 goals. By the way,
did you see him get ragdolled?
Oh yeah.
Why are you letting that? Who did it? Dubois. Why are you letting anybody do that?
Luke.
Why are you letting anybody do that to you?
I know. And
you
Matthews
look stupid.
is not a little guy.
No,
either.
He's 6'3". It's like, look, I know you don't have to fight anybody. I know, but stick up for your fucking self. You look dumb, and not to mention you both got penalties, which is like you just look like a jackass. Well, he's slamming you down,
it's
and then
not Ryan Reeves who's doing it. It's not Reeves doing it.
Get up and fucking stick up for yourself, you baby.
I know.
You're unbelievable at everything you do, but stick up for yourself. This happened behind the net a couple years ago too, Andy. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit. You remember that where he's like laughing the whole time, and they end up losing that fucking series. It's like, fuck you.
It's games like that.
Get on.
It's games like that when I say
shit.
Pump the brakes on the Toronto Maple Leafs, man. I want to see what they are come playoff time, man. Because if they can get pushed around a little bit, then you know what? That means you can get pushed out of a playoff series,
too. Yes, you can, dude. Getting ragged out. Get up and I don't give a damn if you take a 2, 5, and 10 on it.
And I know they're good, man,
sorry.
and everybody's all excited and whatever. Listen, there's some question marks there. I told you, man, I'm going to reserve judgment on Toronto until we get to the postseason.
Andy, I don't blame you. Here's another thing.
We've seen them have good regular seasons in the past.
Did you see boy's at it again?
It was Sluban?
Yeah, what the fuck
So I was just thinking that because you're sitting here saying like someone should be suspended. Well, no one should ever be suspended in the history of the game ever again until PK Subban
there it is.
Actually gets penalized, let alone suspended for these slew foots that he does. Listen, he's already done it like 4 or 5 times this year.
In a month.
And everyone's like, he's got a wide skating stance.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm like, what?
You never go knee on back of the knee in any situation when you're trying to defend somebody, especially in the middle of the ice. Like, if you want to pin a guy against the boards where they're not around and you put your knee between their legs just to pin them, that's whatever. But anytime you take your knee and have motion in the back of somebody's knee where on skates they're not planted, they're automatically going to fall and crank their fucking head open. Yeah. Fuck you.
You know what?
I can't believe
he's got that look on his face too. Like he knows he's guilty.
He's doing.
And I just can't believe that this continues to be ignored. I know the league fined him. He got a little bit of a fine.
If I'm Lindy Ruff, would you fucking stop?
No, his teammates got to be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, stop doing that.
Pissing everybody off. Now I'm going to have to fight somebody. Now they're going to go after Jack Hughes and run him over because you're a dumbass.
But that doesn't accidentally happen like 4 or 5 times. Like, dude, like, and then he's got that look on his face. He goes and looks at the iPad afterwards. And his eyes are like, well, I didn't know. Like,
and I'll tell you this, any fans out there, and I know, like, well, Cam, that wasn't a penalty. That might not have been a penalty. You could have maybe not called that, but the movement. But here's the motion, what's happening.
Why isn't it a penalty? It's a slew foot. I'm sorry. And it's the same guy who continues to do it over and over. Remember, like, it'd be like Burroughs or somebody in Vancouver, like one of those guys, Raffi Torres. Every time they did anything, they got penalized for it because the referees are like, oh, it's Torres, it's Burroughs, whatever.
Willie, too, or Claude.
But, dude, it's like PK Subban. I'm sorry, man. You think he's going to get the benefit of the doubt now? Like, that's not happening.
Bullshit. And listen, why
should he?
Even if some fans are like, I don't see it. Well, you know what? Everybody on the ice knows what he's doing. Every player, everybody on the other team, they know when that happens, man. That's a fucking slew foot.
But he knows it too.
He knows it, dude. Lindy Ruff knows
this one wasn't even like
Marty knows
this one in a way. I know everyone's saying it shouldn't have been a penalty and whatever, which it wasn't. But to me, it's almost more dangerous than some of the other ones, man. This one wasn't on the wall. It was like in open ice, and he like literally kicks his legs out, and he takes his arm to the front of the chest, right? And he brings him back. That's like a full-on slew foot. I'm sorry.
Who's going to bag him up?
How about this? What's Mike Yeo coming out. He's replacing Alain Vigneault. Listen, the Flyers got beat up bad again the other night. Mike Yeo, he's been a head coach. He's an obvious choice on the coaching staff to kind of take over for now. But Alain Vigneault, man, they got off to a great start, and then they've just been okay. Carter Hart had a terrible lapse the other night, turning the puck over. And Tampa Bay was able to score in the empty net. I think they gave up 7 goals against the Lightning. So
they got rocked the other night. Well, you got push comes to shove, shit happens, and of course Vancouver too.
I know
Travis Green and all that stuff.
I know Travis Green, man. Listen, like Travis Green is an example of like everybody likes him. All I hear about is how great of a guy he is. You know, so he's kind of part of that good old boys club. And I don't mean that as a negative or in a bad way. I'm just saying this is the reality. So when you play over like 1,000 games or whatever he played in his career, he played a ton, played a long time. Like, when you're not a good coach, people don't say you're not a good coach. They say what a great guy he is, and he's one of the boys. And, like, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, he is a good coach. Okay, he was good in the minors. Really hasn't been that good of a coach in the NHL. I know they had some success in the bubble, which we've talked about over and over again. It's just further proof that the bubble wasn't real. It was like fantasy world. Yep. Like, this is not real hockey. This is bubble hockey. So, Travis Green, the combination of him and Jim Benning. And let me just say this about Jim Benning, who's the GM there in Vancouver, who's just getting let go. This guy, from what I understand, you talk to people kind of in the business and whatever. It almost felt like he had no plan whatsoever. There was no plan for the Vancouver Canucks. You talk about a dysfunctional organization. Now fans are throwing jerseys on the stand. The Vancouver Canucks internally are dysfunctional, and they have been for quite some time.
Look at their superstars and what they're doing.
Well, they're not doing anything.
Peterson, remember how unbelievable he was? You know who he reminds me of now? What he turned into? Who's another big blonde-haired dude that kind of had an unbelievable start and kind of slowed down? Laine. Pettersson looks exact same, kind of going in that trajectory. And remember, he would just dangle guys and have these sick Datsuk type.
He
looked like that. We're like, he's Datsuk. Yeah. He's Datsuk. No, he's not. Datsuk didn't take years off. And I know it's been funky with all that kind of stuff, but he is. Look at his numbers. What Brody just tweeted. It's like, I mean, terrible.
He's got 1 goal, 2 assists.
What's he making, buddy? He signed a big ticket.
He signed a huge ticket.
What did he go?
$50
million?
No, he signed a 3-year deal, right? Or was it? I forget if he signed the long-term deal or if Quinn Hughes signed the long-term deal.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I want to say that Hughes signed a longer-term to 6-year deal, whatever. And Pettersson was more of a bridge, a 3-year contract.
Lost. He's a puppy dog.
Listen, but he can rediscover. He can find it, man. The guy's got the ability to score from it. He's got an unbelievable shot. They're underachieving, man. Listen, I will say this in terms of Pettersson not playing well. And listen, teams are calling the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, Brock Besser, it's only a matter of time before he gets moved.
He's got like 10 points.
I know. There's a lot of teams that are interested in him. I don't know. He's a guy who's good, not great. I think buyer beware a little bit if you want to make a trade for some of these guys. But when your best players aren't producing, as much as I want to put it on the players, you just got to wonder what's going on with the coaching staff, too. What's going on with management? Why are your best players not producing? Yeah, no. Similar situation taking place right now in Ottawa, man. It's the same situation. Also, when your PK is as bad, I think they're at 65% for the Vancouver Canucks. Okay? When your PK is that bad, to me, that's on coaching. You want to judge coaching in the NHL? I
agree with that.
Then you got to look at
if your talent's not there and your power play can't make it because you don't have the skill set, we
coaching, man.
But if your PK is not, even if you have the shitty team, you got workers on that team. Mm-hmm. You got penalty killers. You don't have the scoring for the most part. You know what I mean? So
they let their goalie go a couple years ago. Who's playing well in Calgary right now?
True.
Like they just Vancouver's a mess, man. I think it's dysfunctional and it has been for quite some time. People may not have known it, but people in the industry totally know it. And now they're going to have some change there, which they desperately need. Ottawa, you just wonder if the same thing's going to happen. Like when their GM comes out and has a press conference and starts saying, "Hey, our best players need to be better," and whatever. That's a shot
Brady,
at the coach.
Your best player is Brady. And it's
Tim Stützle also, man. This young kid who's got like 1 or 2 goals on the season.
He dominated. I remember watching him.
Dude, he was good last year when he came in.
Last year,
all these guys, man. They've got some injuries to a couple of guys. But, you just wonder how long it'll be before they make a change there with the coach. The problem is when a general manager, DJ. I like DJ and whatever. Like him, but at the end of the day, it's all about results, man. It's a result-oriented business.
I hear you.
But when GM, they're always cautious about firing a coach because, some of these GMs, you fire the coach, now all of a sudden the pressure's on you. It's all on you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now you're the next one to go.
You're buying time without.
Now you're the next one to go.
Let me ask you about the switching China in the Olympics.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
where?
China.
Would you go?
I would be hesitant. I certainly would be hesitant. I don't trust them. Mm-hmm. As far as I could throw them, and I am pretty strong, so I guess I could throw people pretty. If I had to throw you,
well, I don't think you could.
I can't throw. They got billions of people there. Mm-hmm. The point is, you can get jammed up in weird ways. And COVID is tricky in so many different levels, in so many different ways. Meaning, if you're over there and you get jammed up with COVID somehow and something, you might be in purgatory.
Is it called a diplomatic boycott? Yeah. Is that what USA is doing? Because President Biden and the government saying they're not going to go there because of the way
because
of the way of some of the way they treat people.
Well, I know. No shit. Yeah. How LeBron James doesn't seem to care, and who cares about that? He's going to make money. It is what it is. Just don't bitch about other things.
So you think they should go or no?
I want them to go. Mm-hmm. On a selfish note, I want to watch the best of the best go at it.
So do I.
Now me
at 3 a.m. or whatever.
If I got $50 million in a bank and I've been there and I've won already, would I be hesitant to go this year? You goddamn right.
Okay, but
China,
what?
And not to mention, you want to be stuck there for 3 weeks afterwards because you get COVID, and they're going to be feeding you.
They got to change that.
They're going to be feeding you rats and shit.
Because some people
wet market in Wuhan.
Some people don't trust the testing as it is.
No shit.
So what? I'm positive, but I feel
everyone
great.
On the team's positive when they play China.
3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention they got a hockey team too. They're going to get fucking spanked.
Who's that?
China.
Well, they got a good team, I hear. No, I hear they got a pretty good. The way they're working, they're practicing and whatever. But for Canadian fans, this is their last, maybe their only chance to see McDavid and Crosby play together.
Yeah, well, McDavid got a 5-minute check from behind.
What do you think? What do you think that was dirty?
It was a little dirty.
Oh, whatever. It was.
I don't care.
It was.
I'm not bitching about it. Andy, you asked me about it.
Let's see Matthews do that once or twice.
I rather, even that, I just don't like that. I rather Matthews be like, fuck you, and stick up for yourself, meaning
getting ragdolled by Pierre-Luc.
Turn around and cross-check him. Turn around and do something. You look like a buffoon. You look like a pussy.
Pierre-Luc.
Fucking pussy.
I don't think you can say that.
Well, I just did.
Well, I don't know if you should say that about
You look like a pussy. Is what you look like.
What do you think Bieber thought about that one?
Well, Bieber would have fucking done something.
Bieber might have.
Bieber would have sang him a song at least.
Listen, I'm into the Christmas music. I'm a big fan of Christmas music. I have it playing nonstop. Bieber, very underrated when it comes to his Christmas album, dude. This guy can belt out some Christmas tunes. So check that out.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, well, you should check it out. I know what you listen to.
I listen to choir shit.
I know you do.
I listen to choir Jesus.
You listen,
when I want them to sing about Jesus.
Yeah, well, okay.
Because he's interesting.
I know.
And like he died on the cross.
You
and shit.
Like the church music.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that too. You don't like.
I watched Home Alone last night with Kate.
Well, that's not church.
Well, they had a bunch of good music in that mug when he Kevin's cruising around. He's like me. Anyway. That movie's fucking cool.
Okay, it is. It is. You know you can get that house on Airbnb right now.
$20 in Chicago.
I don't get that. So it's $20 for real?
$20 a night. Yeah. Well, you probably get one of the rooms. It probably looks completely different. You know, it's a shitty. Those are the houses. I hate those kind of big houses where it's just like you got a room. Like, what do you need 7 fucking rooms for?
How bad do you think it sucks for a guy like Matt Murray, goaltender, to get sent down? Could you imagine making all that money, Stanley Cup winner? You're on top of the hockey world.
Yeah, I play with guys that had to do that.
Why you gotta be careful, man. Even you gotta sign with bad teams.
You can get
as a goalie.
As a goalie, ain't good. You need a defense in front of you to help.
And I know it's sometimes, if not all the time, it's about the money and whatever. Yeah. But man, now all of a sudden you got to go down to Belleville. Shitty as shit, dude. Fuck that. But you're making 6 sheets and you take care of the boys. The boys love you down there. Like you're depressed when you get down there. They're still human beings.
You walk in that room and they just look at you and you just take care of them. And it's such a cool thing when you're in the minors when you get a big dog, not for them, but you get a big dog. The guy's taking care of the boys. You know.
So last night, so we had the Pee Wee Quebec dinner here, which is like a great hockey event, annual event here in St. Louis. Man, it's like probably the best hockey event going here in St. Louis every year. I love the Pee Wee Quebec dinner. I go every year. The wife came with me.
He goes to everything, by the way. You go to every event.
What? That's not true.
You go to every anybody event? Where's the next event? I have events all day.
That's
like a
not
fucking
true.
event planner or something.
What do you mean? Like, what other events do I go to?
Everything. You're going to go tonight to see Bacchus. You're going to go to.
I can't go.
You go. You can't. But you would have. You go to every event in St. Louis.
Well, the Jack Buck Awards are.
I don't mind you to do. I need somebody in the field. Because I ain't going.
Well, no, you're not. You're not leaving the house.
Well, I didn't make that fucking team.
You live
so
way
they
too
ain't
far.
getting my time.
I talked to my friend the other night at this party who's got like a crazy house in St. Albans. He's actually in the wealthy area. He's been trying to sell this house for like $7 million forever.
Oh, 7 schmil.
Oh my god. Well, now it's like
got $7 million.
Now it's down to like 3.5 or something like that.
You probably get like 30
so you can get it for like half off.
Oh, it's so nice.
And I said, what's it like living out there? And he said, it's fine, except it's so far. Like if you ever have to be anywhere, you just can't live out there. So I'm like, well, Cam doesn't have to be anywhere, and anytime.
He's a pussy, nerd boy, fucking nerd boy.
Oh, I love it.
And he lives up in the bluffs.
Does that upset you?
Why would that upset? Dude, I sit down and it's so funny. I like how you try to chirp me.
Well, I'm just saying.
All I do is relax.
It's so far.
Well, he's a pussy.
So far that they had to get a condo like out closer just to like stay at night, like when you don't want to drive.
Does he go to all the little boys events too? Like if there's like a little, just hang out and go to events.
No,
pussy. Oh, he probably has a ton of money and he's fucking cheap.
No.
He's probably one of those guys that's so fucking cheap.
I'll tell you.
I spend too much money on gas. Yeah, shut up.
Oh God.
Fucking cheap
so all I'm saying is, man, I'm finding it out firsthand. What's going on out there in St. Albans.
If you make money and you're cheap, go fuck yourself. Just go fuck yourself. Okay, you ain't hanging out with me.
Hey, listen. So last night, so we get to this thing, right? And it's like an auction that they have, whatever. And Chaser's doing the auction, and they give you your number, like a little sticker to wear, and they give me 39.
That's cute.
And, that's Chaser's number, whatever. So
everyone got pissed.
Oh, my God. They're all having like a field day with it all night long about me. I'm walking around with like a 39 sticker with a Blues emblem.
Well, Chaser probably is like, you got to give me some kind of cash for that. I'll give you 15%.
No, but best of luck. It's Barrett Jackman's team, by the way. We'll give him a shout out. His team's going to Quebec this year. So
good, man.
It's a great auction.
Still no checking up there?
I don't know. No, there's not. I don't think. Yeah,
there's no checking.
No, there's not. You can't even check now. I don't think it's like ban a major.
Yeah, I know. It's different. It's all different.
That's what separates the men from the boys.
Yeah, tell me about it, Andy.
You know, I would fucking crush you if I just play. I wish I could just go back in time and have one game.
I hurt kids like you, man. Like I literally got suspended for weekends because of little kids like you.
Listen, Kenny Holland, man.
Yeah.
I told you I want to get Kenny on.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He is the man. Like, this guy's got so much history as a general manager in the National Hockey League, all these great Detroit teams, and then, now he's managing arguably the most interesting team.
One of them, yeah.
One of them, for sure, in the NHL and the Edmonton Oilers with McDavid and everybody over there. So it was, I love talk. I love his answers. It's like, you can kind of like surprise him with something, but he's going to like think about what he's going to say, whatever, and he gives you a great answer,
Dude, I thought he was going to be like... you get a guy in that stature, man. Sometimes they're just a little like standoffish, or maybe they're like kind of bored, or like they don't take you. He was awesome,
incredible.
He was just a cool cat. Like you could tell, like as a player, to go into his office and talk to him, like you'd be able to talk to him and get the right. Like he seemed very honest. We've done enough of these, Andy. Like who's kind of just towing it. And he gave you legit answer. I'm like, fuck,
great answers.
What's up?
Dude? I know.
God, I'd play for him.
Yeah,
damn right I would.
Me too.
Well, no shit, you would.
I would play for
anybody.
Yeah.
Play for fucking.
By the way, I'm looking it up for your prime rib. I know exactly what temperature to cook it at, dude. Like you gotta hit me up. Don't make this on your own. Do not make it. You don't know.
Well, I could just look it up in 2 seconds. You dummy. And not to mention, I put rosemary and butter.
I put it on the Traeger, dude. I put it on the Traeger.
I do that.
Which
I put it on the
Traeger. I endorse Traeger.
I don't mind.
I'm part of the team over there with Traeger.
You press a button.
Hey, they sent me a new apron. That's like made out of like the material that like won't catch on fire, like the oven mitt type thing. I mean, it's like, but it's like rubber.
If you catch something on fire using a Traeger, you're slow. You're a slow person.
Do you wear those like gloves, like how you rip it apart and stuff like that, like the brisket and stuff?
Yeah,
like
don't
that?
put your hands in that mug,
or
even moving around. Wear those awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Not too much. You put olive oil and stuff. It's stuck to your hands the whole time. You put it in your face, you get fucking acne.
I'm thinking about marketing our own barbecue sauce too, and like a dry rub that I have, by the way. So
you don't eat meat.
Well,
what do you put it on? What are you putting it on?
Fish,
veggies, and fish, and that's fine. It's just like.
I want to have you over, by the way, for Christmas Eve. I was going to invite you over for Christmas Eve dinner. What are you talking about, dude?
Because I'm doing it at my house, man. I don't.
Well, we'll talk about that. I
don't go places.
All right, let's get to Kenny.
I got COVID stuff. That's what I'm going to say.
You better get this.
I got COVID.
Yeah, move back another 6 feet.
I got COVID. Go ahead.
All right, Kenny Holland on this edition of the Cam and Strick podcast. For people who don't know, he managed all those great teams in Detroit. He's now managing in Edmonton. So obviously a heavyweight when it comes to general managers in the league. Your boy Lou is struggling, by the way.
Oh, God, I feel bad for him. I know.
He is struggling.
I know.
Which is further evidence that what happened last year. I mean, I just can't take it serious. Right. Even with the Islanders now, even though they had COVID, they started on the road and all that. They've got good players. I just don't know what's going on there.
I know.
So.
I feel bad for them. They're the 1 of 3 teams that I actually root for.
Is there anybody else you feel bad for? Is that it?
That's about it.
Okay. As always, the Cam and Strick podcast brought to you by Hair Club. Hey, listen, go to our landing page today, hairclub.com/Cam and Strick.
Yeah.
Hairclub.com/Cam and Strick. Schedule your consultation from there. You're going to get $250 off, baby.
It helps, man. Get you started.
Yes, it does.
Get you started.
Now,
you grow that hair back. I'm telling you, it's the best feeling in the world.
I know. There's some people with some great hair out there, too, man.
Well, you make money. Listen. People take you more seriously if you have nice hair.
Yes.
Girls, look, sorry to be like, it is what it is. Unless you look like Jason Statham, which you certainly do not, Andy.
I think I probably do, actually.
You look like his, whatever. I'm not even going to say it. His,
be careful now.
His cousin.
Cousin?
His cousin that's from
cousin Daryl.
Podunk, Missouri. Anyway, look, you feel better about yourself. Confidence is everything in the world.
Yes,
and
it is.
It really, truly is. You can be overconfident. You can screw yourself. But if you're underconfident, you ain't getting nowhere. You've got to have that happy medium. And I tell you what, you look at yourself in the mirror and you got that hair growing back, it's going to help you no matter where you're at in life. So
we got to start. We got to start like promoting guys who have great hair in the league too, man. And it's presented by Hair Club. Like, who's that dude that was in Montreal a few games ago? Played his first NHL game. He was like in his late 20s, had the long curly ass hair. You see that guy, man?
He get his ass kicked.
He scored like in a shootout too in practice, whatever. And they were going crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, we talk about it.
I know.
Kid's not even that good, and we talk about it.
No, I know.
I mean, I should say he's not good. He's good, but he's not
in the league.
He's in the league. I shouldn't say that.
Like I could have said that about you back in the day.
I wasn't that good.
You know?
I wasn't that good. That's tornado sirens, although it's not tornado.
It's a
test.
Monday.
It's a
Monday.
test.
It's a Monday. It's a test.
That's the most horrific. Don't get me started.
Do people hear that? Do they even know what you're doing? We don't get tornadoes here anyway. Just so people know, we don't get those.
That's a stupid, ignorant, fucking stupid ass comment. That's an ignorant comment.
Yeah, okay.
You're ignorant.
Oh, really? Okay.
800, we got an earthquake the other day, too, motherfucker.
279-7878. 800-279-7878. Call Hair Club today. Hundreds and hundreds of solutions. Over 1,200 locations throughout North America, USA, Canada. They are everywhere. 1,200 locations. That's a lot, dude.
A shit ton.
800-279-7878. Hairclub.com/Cam and Strick. That's our landing page. Go there today and sign up, and you'll get $250 off of your first Hair Club solution, and they've got solutions for everybody, baby. All right, the Cam and Strick podcast is also brought to you by CarShield. 800-857-2481. Our boy Nick Hamilton getting it done. Steve, everybody over there at CarShield. And this is just incredible stuff that they do over there at CarShield, Cam, as you know.
Yeah.
Explain how CarShield can help somebody this holiday season.
Well, it's kind of like a one-stop shop. We just pay a monthly fee, and you got them anywhere you want. You get a flat tire, your engine doesn't start, starter's out, whatever the case is. You call them up. They'll ask you where you want to take your car. You pick out wherever you want to go, depending on where you're at. They're always there. They'll help you with anything. A mechanic, you take it anywhere. They'll give you a rental car. They'll hook you up with so many different things. It's like having your own personal service. Check them out. It ain't that much money. It's easy peasy, and it simplifies your life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was good. That was pretty good. 800-857-2481. You forgot to mention, use the promo code CAM. Even Cam's embarrassed to tell you that, but I'll go ahead and tell you. It'll save you money.
Women like it.
Use that promo code and do it today. Honestly, if you, have somebody in your family this holiday season, who could use something like this. It's not expensive. It's cheap, monthly payment, but it's that peace of mind, man. You are secure with our friends over there with CarShield. We love the support we get from our friends with CarShield. Check them out today, carshield.com, 800-857-2481. All right, Bellman.com. Danny Bellman. I think of people who bring goodwill towards men. It's Danny Bellman, dude. Okay,
goodwill towards men.
That's how it goes, isn't that? Isn't that how it goes? Isn't that
what does that mean?
Isn't that like a Christmas saying? Like
goodwill towards men.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Okay. Well, we'll edit that out. Actually,
keep that.
What's the Christmas song? How does it go?
I don't know.
You listen to that.
Danny
That's the music you listen to.
I give goodwill towards men and women at least. Like, what's wrong with you?
Well, yes.
Just men?
No.
No, I want my girl to go buy a car.
It's a saying, dude. Like you've heard it before.
That's probably you probably do it. Well, no. We don't get that much time to waste on this.
Well, anyway, Danny Bellman, man, Kenny Bellman, Dale, everybody. Troy, Missouri, they've got something for everybody, Cam, including that Buick and that GMC. I know you're looking at that Enclave. Pearl White, Captain Seats. No, you shouldn't at all. Captain Seats. I'm looking at a GMC, though. I'm looking at that Denali, baby, here for 2022, so I look forward to that.
Yeah.
On the other side of the street, they've got the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. I know you're looking at that diesel and everything else.
Man, I'll get a goddamn diesel, dude. I don't give a shit. I'm not cheap like your fucking rich buddies. I'll pay for that fucking gas, and I know I can get anywhere once it starts snowing. It's going to be probably a nasty-ass winter. I want a shit kicker.
Okay. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good things of great joy, which shall be to all people. And suddenly
all right, Andy.
There was with the angel a multitude of heavenly hosts praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men.
Well,
that's what it says right here. It's a Christmas saying.
I like women.
Well, goodwill towards men and women.
Well, it didn't say women.
Peace on earth.
You probably edited that out.
Here's a quote.
That was a family, what?
Here's a quote. Peace on earth and goodwill towards men. See?
Well, whatever.
Look at that.
I'm not, I like men and women.
Goodwill towards men and the lessening of Christmas.
Who cares?
Okay?
Jesus.
Well, so I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
Do you want that diesel?
Yeah, I kind of do.
Well, explain what that means.
I just did. I want a diesel.
For what? Like, what's the benefit of that?
Well, they last for 500,000 miles. I mean,
no, they don't. 500,000 miles?
Can. Yeah, and they last
just because your truck has like 250,000.
It's 107.
Does it?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's 2015.
I think it's got more than that.
It's paid off, man.
Dude, with the distance you're traveling every day, are you kidding me?
I don't go much.
Well, you drive into town every day.
I don't go to every 12 and under little boys event like you do around town. So bizarre. Is there another boys event tonight? Oh, honey, we got to go to it. Never mind, I'll go by myself.
Don't chirp last. There's a lot of people there. You know that. It's a great
Yeah,
event.
last night was cool.
Yeah, what's another one?
I don't know. You're going. Where are you going tonight? You tell me. I don't go to them.
Taking Chloe to soccer practice.
I ignore those
tonight.
emails.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. What kind of emails you're getting?
I ignore those emails.
And the angel said unto them.
Andy,
Okay. Bellman.com. Check it out today. Daredevil Hockey again. Use that promo code CAM and Strick. You're going to save 25%. This is great for the Christmas season. Our CAM and Strick holiday special with Daredevil Hockey. Skate lacerations, they're no joke, Cam. You know that. They're the number one cause of emergency room visits among youth hockey players. Man, it is serious stuff, skate lacerations. So do not get cut this holiday season, man. Make sure you're protected. Daredevil Hockey, they got the tops, they got the bottoms, like Kevlar protection. And we love everything we get, the support that we get from our friends over there with Daredevil Hockey. Again, use that promo code CAM and Strick, all caps. You're going to save 25%. Great people throughout the entire junior hockey world. The National Hockey League, Carlo Koliakovo is a personal endorser of this product as well, Cam. I know you've worn it before. It's very comfortable.
So comfy, man.
And Little Ty wears it every single time he gets on the ice. He will not get on the ice without it. So, again, use that protection. Check out daredevilhockey.com and do it today. All right, we got to get to the interview. Kenny Holland on this edition of the Cam and Strick podcast, man. Enjoy this one. True legend, one of the best to ever do it in the NHL. Here's Kenny Holland.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kenny.
How you guys doing?
What's up, man? How you doing?
What time is it there? What time is it? Like 8:45? It's not too early, is it?
No. It's 8:45. We're having a staff Zoom call at 10 a.m. That's why I just wanted to start 50 minutes earlier. So no, all good.
That's good.
Is the sun out? Or is it gone for 6 months?
What's going on in Edmonton today?
I don't think the sun's out quite yet. It's just starting to perk. It's just starting to get up here. I think about 9 o'clock it gets up, and then it goes down about, 3:30, 4.
Ooh, yeah. It's long days.
Hey, when you're
short days,
it's hockey weather, guys. It's hockey weather. You guys grew up. Where'd you guys grow up?
Oh, we're middle of Missouri, Kenny.
Okay. Oh, you're soft. You're soft
Very
over down
listen, I'm technically from Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
So I'm used to it. Hey, listen, when you're managing out west like you are right now, and like before you were in an Eastern time zone, like you got to get up early, don't you? I mean, you got to be up early, right, just to like touch base with everybody in terms of like other GMs around the league and stuff like that. You can't sleep in like they can.
No. We know like everybody. I think the whole hockey world's on Eastern time. So yeah, the day starts earlier by 3:30, 4 o'clock here. I used to work till 5:30. Non-game days. I'd be in the office till say 5:30 or 6, and then head home. Well, now by 3:30 or 4, it's pretty well, shut down. In terms of calls. But yeah, different hours. 2 hours earlier and on each end.
Kenny, you got to deal with all that media, all that Canadian media, man. They want to talk to you. They got you on speed dial, don't they?
Yeah, there's lots of passion. Which is good. They care.
Can you walk around Edmonton and just kind of hide out, or people recognize you?
Yeah, you get recognized. Actually, I live in a condo right across the street. So it can be 40 below. I can just wear a sweater over, because there's a pedway. So I go down from the 51st floor to the second. I walk across a covered in sort of, it's called a pedway. It's a bridge from one building to another building. And then I'm into the building, and I'm from my condo to being in my office is probably 7 to 8 minutes.
Oh, nice.
So at the end of the day, I go to my condo, to the office, to my condo. Occasionally I go with my wife to maybe Safeway or whatever. Occasionally we go out for dinner, but I don't go out that much. I go and obviously go to the airport. We fly to some other city. So, my life's a little, when I was in Detroit, I had a half an hour drive, and you lived out there. You had a world out there. I had a house. So now I got a condo. Everything's sort of enclosed, so it's a different. At my stage of my life, it's a good setup personally and professionally.
Listen,
Simplify.
Kenny, you need like an underground tunnel over there in Edmonton. I mean, come on now, they got to build you one for this weather. Hey, where's your wife from?
My wife is from a place called East End, Saskatchewan, which is it's in the southwest corner of Saskatchewan. when I was playing junior hockey with the Medicine Tigers in 1974, thereabouts, she was going to school in Medicine for a nursing degree. We met during my junior days and her college days.
Okay. And first, I see you say Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Cam doesn't know how to say it. He says Saskatchewan. He doesn't know how to say it. He has no idea. Hey, but like so when you told the wife, honey, we're moving to Edmonton, she was okay with that, right?
Yeah, we're Western. We have 2 daughters that live in Calgary. So
perfect.
And they've each got 3 kids. So 6 of our grandkids are 3 hours down the road. So she was happy.
That's perfect. Hey, listen, man, people may not know. I mean, Kenny Holland was like a goaltender back in the day. Like, describe your style of play, Kenny. We need to know.
Well, I was. If you're looking for a 5'8" goalie, that as I think if you look in the guide and record book, I think my junior goals against average was around 4, and I would tell my teammates, score me 5. You got 2 in the bank most nights. Not every night, but 5'8" with a saves percentage around 86 or 87%. What doesn't really fly in today's hockey.
I think you quoted you by saying something to the effect of hockey was great right after you stopped playing, right?
Yes. Hockey's been very, very good to me once they stopped trying to play it.
Isn't that amazing? Hey, but you think about it, Kenny. I mean, listen, you did play 4 games in the show, so we got to give it to you as a player, not just an executive and being a Hall of Famer that you are. But, I mean, you go back and you think about, like, your life when you're a young kid and everything you've accomplished and what you've done as an executive, man. Yeah. You could have never predicted this for yourself, right?
No. I mean, I can reflect back in Vernon, BC. I remember when I was a huge, growing up in British Columbia, Canada, you were either a Leaf fan or you were a Montreal fan. I mean, those were the 2 big teams in Canada. And I was a Leaf fan. I can remember 1967 when the Leafs won the Cup. Johnny Bauer, Terry Sawchuk. I was 12 years old, and I can remember playing road hockey and coming in and watching some of the game and pretending I was Johnny Bauer and playing outside in the streets with the nets with the neighborhood friends. And then I remember, as an 18-year-old, I was the backup goalie for the Vernon, my local Vernon junior team, which was a Tier 2 team. Major juniors Tier 1. This was Tier 2, so it's a lower level of junior. I was a backup goalie. I think I played 10 games out of about 56. And then I'm thinking I'm going to end up. My hockey career is going to be playing in the recreational leagues in Vernon.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
No. I mean, because I love the game, but 2 years later, 3 years later, I'm playing pro hockey in the American League, and 10 years later, I'm a scout for the Red Wings. So along the way, I've had lots of people that believed in me. Jack Shoup, the Medicine Hat Tiger coach, who gave me an opportunity to, I played 10 games a year before he picked me to or kept me to play junior for the Medicine Hat Tigers, and then. Larry Kish was a coach that I had for 6 years in pro, and I learned a lot from Larry Kish. My last 2 years, my coach in the American League and the Adirondack Red Wings was Bill Dineen, and he recommended to Jim Devellano to hire me to be a scout, and Neil Smith and Jimmy Dean. I think as you go along in life, personally, I mean, there's the odd few that can do it sort of on their own, on your own. You're just better than everybody else. Mm-hmm. But most people, you need mentors and role models and people that believe in you and help you along the way. And unfortunately, I've had lots of those people.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Hey, rumor has it, by the way, the Leafs haven't won a cup since then. So
they're all 40 years old.
Hey,
too.
let's get the Toronto fans mad at us right now, Kenny, while we have you on here. So hey, that's a great.
I was a Leaf draft pick too. I was an 11th round draft pick. I played of the. So they were my favorite team growing up, and I got drafted by the team that I can remember going to my first. I remember actually landing in Toronto. I think it was I don't know what day. I think it was a Saturday. Whatever, doesn't matter. I remember going up. I'd been in Western Canada my whole life. Vernon, BC, a small little town of about 35,000 people. The prairies, in the prairies are flat. You can see, for miles, and there's not lots of big buildings. And I can remember like going to landing at the airport in Toronto and going to my first day going up Yonge Street. They were taking me to some hotel for the first, for training camp, Toronto Maple Leafs training camp, and all these big, massive buildings, skyscrapers to me, and there's people. I mean, there were so many people in the streets. My eyes were the size of saucers. I'd never seen something like that. And then to go to the Leafs training camp. And I did I went to Leafs training camp, and about 3 years later I went to Buffalo Sabres training camp. And I remember two people, the way they skated. Borje Salming, I went to the Leafs camp, the power and the way his skates hit the ice was different of a sound than anything that I ever heard, in junior. And then when I went to Buffalo Sabres camp 3 years later, I remember Gilbert Perreault, same thing, the skating drills, up and down, just the power in there, and knowing that, you've gone, you're 3 years or 4 years earlier, you're going from the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm in Tier 2 hockey, and you're in the Toronto Maple Leafs training camp. It was an eye opener. It was an eye opener, but nothing but great memories.
Yeah, you know what? It usually pisses me off whenever you go on the ice and somebody just skates so effortlessly, and you're like, oh my, and they're not even sweating in practice. Like you're just grinding it. You're like, how do you do that?
Like Lidstrom,
Lidstrom and the boys. Yeah. So let me
now Connor's like that. Watching Connor skate every day. I mean, the way he can go. But yeah.
Oh, we're gonna be asking questions.
Does he like walk fast? Does he just do everything fast?
I know. Does he? Can he do a backflip?
Does he eat fast? Like, is he just constantly like, okay, like the first one on the plane, Connor just got there first. He's just faster than everybody else.
Everything's in slow motion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
you got to just sit back and just be. Listen, I wasn't even planning on getting to Connor this early in the interview, but we might as well. Like, does he remind you of anybody? Did anybody, like, because you had so many great players in Detroit. I mean, obviously, first ballot Hall of Famers, just absolute icons in the history of the game. Did anybody bring you out of your seat the way that this guy can?
Well, we had lots of people in Detroit that could bring me out of the seat, but not the way Connor can, and not as often as he can. Obviously, I was in Detroit, and I knew from afar that Connor was a great player. I think he'd won a Hart Trophy already when he was his second or third year, and an Art Ross. But getting the privilege to be able to watch him every day, not only in the games, but seeing how committed he is to practice, to the off season. I mean, it's incredible. He's better than any player that I've had the privilege to deal with on an everyday basis. He's a generational player, and it's obviously a skill set. You got to have a skill set, but then I also use the will set, the determination, the passion, the drive to push yourself every day to be better and better and better. And that's what it's the combination of the two. He's got incredible skills. His ability to skate and change directions, on a dime when other people can't do it, and doing things at high speed. But then it's the determination and to go to the gym and the sacrifice, to do all those things all year long and be in the gym and driven to push himself to greater heights. I mean, he's incredible to watch.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful house too. Terrible view, but a beautiful house. I mean, just incredible house. We just saw that on the internet. But I'm curious how much time you spend with him away from everybody else, one-on-one, and you can tell that he's so driven to win. Like, this kid wants to win so badly, and yet he can't do it just solely on his own, but he's got so much pressure on his shoulders. You've kind of dealt with that in the past, right? Yzerman took him a long time to win. He finally broke through it and won. Do you bring that up to Connor? And, like, what are your own personal one-on-one interactions like? Like, what do you tell him behind closed doors?
Well, first, I don't talk to him on an everyday basis. I mean, the coach talks to him on an everyday basis. So, I mean, my office is next to the coaches, and Connor's in there. I know that, Dave Tippett talks to Connor and the leadership group. Connor pretty well every day, probably, or if not on the ice in his office. I talk to Connor when I think that I need to talk to Connor. He needs to talk to me during the season. But I'm in tune with what Connor's thinking, because I talk to the coach every day, you know, so Connor will talk to the coach, and, you know, and Connor leaves. And then at some point I talk to Tip every day. And so I'm up to speed on an everyday basis of what's going on between talking to the coach or you know, TD Force or athletic trainer or team doctor when it comes to injuries. But certainly I'm in tune with what Connor's thinking. And I would say to you guys, you know, everybody that plays in the National Hockey League, we play, you know, you play the game because we love the game, and the dream for everybody is to, you know, get your name on the Stanley Cup. I think that when your career's over, you know, everybody wants to get their name at least once on the Stanley Cup. That's what it's about, team success, and just, you know, bringing that joy not only to your team but to your marketplace, to your city, to what it does to your fan base, and that's what drives everybody in this game. So certainly, you know, we're no different here in Edmonton with our team. That's our long-term goal. I think there's a whole lot of short-term goals. There's a whole lot of other things you need to accomplish along the way, and there's a whole lot of dealing with adversity and disappointments. You know, that was the journey that we were on in Detroit. You know, when I became a scout in 1985, and we finally won the Cup in 1997, 12 years later, and watching the growth and the disappointments, you know, they all factored into eventually finding a way to getting it done in 1997. And, you know, again, I think we're no different than 31 other teams. It's the goal, the desire to be the last team standing, but there's so many other things on an everyday basis that add up to that.
So speaking of building a tunnel from your house to the rink, I mean, Connor can't go anywhere in that town. You're not playing in Florida where you can hang out. Like, he's the biggest of the big. Yeah. Edmonton's certainly a fishbowl when it comes to it. Like, how does he interact with the fans on a daily basis? I mean, even going to get milk at the store, it's got to be somewhat difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably sends someone for the milk to the store.
I know. Come on, Ken.
Well, it could be cheap like you, Andy. I don't know.
Can't you do that don't you do that on Uber now or something?
Yeah,
where you can send somebody. You got these people that shop for you and they put it on Uber. And,
yeah.
You know, I'm old, but I think the younger my kids, the younger generation, don't live like I live. But
I know. Even I don't go to the grocery store. You know.
Yeah, certainly. You know, certainly that's the beauty of living in Edmonton. I mean, we're. You know, it's the Edmonton Oilers are, you know, obviously they got Edmonton Eskimos. There's really two professional teams here, and certainly there's a lot of passion and a lot of interest in not only Edmonton but in Alberta and Western Canada in the Edmonton Oilers. I kind of felt that when I played junior the Medicine Hat Tigers from 73 to 75, and then I lived in Medicine Hat from 1985 to 1995 as a scout for the Detroit Red Wings. So, you know, when you're on the prairies, you know, they're either Flames fans or Oilers fans. I mean, you know, so there's lots of passion not only in Alberta but throughout the prairies for these two Alberta teams, and so I think that, you know, I think that's good though. So can he go out? Yeah, I think they can. I think the people are respectful. I'm sure they want to get autographed, but I think that the beauty of playing in a Canadian market, and you know, an Original Six market. We were in Detroit. You want to play hockey where there's passion, where what you do matters to people, and we're in that market, and it's fun. You go to the rink, and you know they're covering our team, and there's radio shows, and there's talk shows, and they're covering our team because it matters. There's passion, and it's a great environment to work in.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, I'm not in the prediction business, but I will predict that John Tortorella will not be coaching Connor McDavid anytime soon. I can tell you that. So, what were your thoughts on his comments and what he had to say about Connor in terms of him needing to change his game and shut up about the refs, even though he didn't really say much about the refs, really, when you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I watch him every day. I watch Connor every day, and I'm here every day. Connor rarely complains. I mean, what ended up happening at that point in time was that a couple of weeks ago, the media starts asking Connor, well, when you ask the question, you know, you answer. And I think, you know, he answers the question and then other people react. And I don't think Connor brings it on to Connor plays hard. Connor plays through. He's got the puck. I think, I mean, you be on analytics. I mean, he'd be in the top 5, maybe number 1. But in terms of having the puck on his stick, he has the puck on his stick as much as any player in the National Hockey League. And when you've got the puck in your stick, the other team are going to try to find ways to defend. They got to defend. This isn't summer hockey, so there's going to be, you know, they're going to be on the line, whether they foul or not. Sometimes they do foul. So, personally, I see in Connor, he plays hard. He plays through it. I don't see him complaining. I think he's got a reason at times he could complain, but he pushes through. So I don't think he's got it. I think he continues. He's playing the type of hockey. He back checks hard. When he comes back, he's working to every day to become better at anything. That if there's an area that he thinks that needs to be improved, he's talked to the coach. He's working on it. He's working on it in the summertime. I don't see what anybody else or John Tortorella or anybody else that thinks Connor is got to change his game. I don't see it. I think that he has changed his game from when he came into the National Hockey League to now. But I think that's a normal evolution of any players, is when you come into the National Hockey League, you get an understanding over the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years of how the league is played and what you need to do as a player, what adjustments or changes you need to make in your game to have, whether it's more success offensively or more success defensively. I've been here for 2.5 years. That's what I've seen with Connor. He just continues to find ways to improve his game.
Yeah, he doesn't really complain that much. And you know what? I think if you ranked drawing penalties with him and how much he has the puck and how much he's on the ice, I think he's rated all the way down by 60th in the league by Radko Gudas. Draws as many penalties. Drawn penalties. So, it is obvious to a lot of the fans that he does take a beating. and you see it every other game. He's got the puck so much. I mean, how do you look at that whole scenario?
Well, to a degree, I guess, again, I went through it in Detroit, watched, Fedorov and Yzerman and then Zetterberg and Datsuk, and, we had all those, I think that, you got to push, the teams that win the Stanley Cup, obviously you saw Tampa the last 2 years, you got to push. And, I look at Tampa 3 years ago when they got swept by Columbus in the first round. You got to push. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. And the calls aren't always going to go your way. And I think I'm talking about an individual game. When you get into a game and there's what you think should have been a call, and it's not made. I think you can't. You just got to keep pushing. I mean, if you get frustrated, if you play the game frustrated, well, then our team might take an undisciplined penalty. So I think that you've got to keep. If you want to have success in this league, you got to stay focused. You got to stay disciplined. There are things that are going to go against you. There are going to be bounces that go against you. There are going to be calls that go against you, and that's just dealing with being a professional athlete in every sport. And I think that obviously, when you get into a playoff series, there's supervisors. The league sends a supervisor in, and you it's a little bit different than the regular seasons because you're playing the same team every second day for 7 days. So for 14 days, so now, and you got a supervisor that comes in every day into their coaching office, into your coaching office, and you can kind of talk about what you've seen. But over the regular season, a team comes in, there's 2 referees, that team leaves, the referees leave, and another team comes in. There's usually 2 different referees, and that's another team, and then you fly. So it's a different scenario over the regular season than it isn't over the playoffs. So I think that, you gotta, again, I think it's dealing with adversity. I think it's you're going to have adversity. You're going to have disappointments. You're going to have frustrations. And you got to keep pushing through, and you got to stay focused on what you need to do individually and as a team to have success.
Yeah. I remember because, even in Detroit, I mean, listen, teams would take liberties on Datsuk, Zetterberg. I mean, just beat the crap out of them. But you did, in the early day, whatever. You had, McCarty and some of these guys that would, step in if necessary. But, people used to be critical of Detroit back in the day because you didn't have a whole lot of toughness on the roster. Where do you stand on that in terms of, protecting these guys? Is it more difficult to do in today's game than maybe it was even 10 years ago?
Well, I learned, I think in my speech I said, for me in 1994 to 1997, when I was the assistant general manager of the Detroit Red Wings, and I got to work on an everyday basis with Jim Devellano and Scotty Bowman. Those 3 years, added in the 9 years of scouting out in the beat, watching players, and then watching players that I evaluated and liked or didn't like, and I was right or I was wrong. And then my 9 years of playing from a player development standpoint, sitting in the locker room in the American Hockey League and seeing players go up to 2021 and not ready, and then come back down 6 weeks later and lost. All those things impacted, my philosophy of player development, of team building, but certainly working with Scotty Bowman, those teams in '94, we had toughness in '97, but we didn't have one-dimensional toughness. We had toughness built into the roster. Shanahan, Marty Lapointe, Darren McCarty. They were players that could play. You could put them out there, and so we could play. Scotty didn't believe in one-dimensional players. Guys that sat there and played 3 minutes, and he's going to go over there and fight. And then I remember with Mike Babcock in 2005. When I hired him, and we had that conversation about were we tough enough, and I said, Mike, I don't know if we're tough enough, but I think we got to be good on the power play. That's a deterrent. I think we were number one in the power play in 05, 06. So, I think there are different deterrents. I think the game has changed, obviously, significantly today in terms of the one-dimensional players, the players that just really can't, have a hard time playing, but they can fight. There's not many of those players. So, where am I on toughness? I think that the toughness in Detroit was for a while there. It was built in, and then I remember in 06 we lost in the first round to Edmonton. I think we had 126 points, won the President's Trophy, and there was some criticism that we weren't tough enough, we weren't hard enough. Well, I also think that we were pretty young. Zetterberg and Datsuk were just taking over the team, and we had guys like Cronwall and Filppula and Hoodler, and we had a bunch of, a lot of younger players that were just, again, getting their first experiences at pro hockey. And that same group of players in 2007 went to the Final Four. In 2008, won the Cup. In 2009, lost Game 7 of the finals to Pittsburgh. And so, I think that, what am I saying? I think that sometimes you just got to get into the players that you might think, I don't know if they can get it done in that type of hockey. Well, you got to give them 2 or 3 chances. You can't just put 6 playoff games and then race out to an evaluation that player can't play in playoff hockey. Well, he's never been in playoff hockey. That's his first 6 games to experience it. So that's why I think, to eventually be the last team standing. Where am I talking on team toughness? Team toughness, you've got to have some of it, but I also think you've got to be in those situations multiple times, and players can adjust and understand that they've got to maybe adjust or change their game, or us as a team, we got to adjust or change our team, or the manager and the coach understand in the off season that we've got to make some adjustments and some changes from the coaching staff to how we play, and from a general manager on little moves that we might make to try to make our team different, grittier, harder, better. But I think that certainly the game is always going to be, there's going to be an element of intimidation. It's physicality, whether it's not even fighting, it's just getting in and forechecking and finishing checks and wearing the other team down. And you got to have players that are comfortable with that. And again, sometimes they just got to be in those situations, and they will get comfortable, but they need to be in those situations multiple times.
Yeah. And you got Cassie, and you got some guys there, obviously, that can contribute in that area. I got to ask you about Datsuk and Zetterberg, though. I want to go back. You find one in the 6th round, one in the 7th round. And listen, there's always been the little whispers around the league, Kenny. I'm sure you hear it too. Say, hey, well, if Detroit knew that they were going to be that good, they would have drafted them in the 1st round. They wouldn't have waited till the 6th and the 7th round. But when did you know? When you made the pick for both those guys, did you know you had what you ultimately got, which is, 2 of the best players of their generation? And when did you know you had something really, really special? Help us understand how you found these guys that late in the draft, because it doesn't happen.
Well, the guys that, as a manager, you hire people and believe, you give them the so Jim Nill and Håkan Andersson and Joe McDonnell. Jim Nill oversaw the draft as my assistant manager, and Joe McDonnell was our chief scout in North America, or oversaw all of our scouting, and Håkan Andersson. So those three people are responsible for Zetterberg and Datsyuk to be being drafted as Red Wings. And I would say to you, when did I remember we had drafted Zetterberg, and I remember going over to the Swedish games in February one year when Zetterberg would probably be 19. We just drafted him. And I remember and the Swedish games are Swede. It's a tournament in February. It's the men's national teams for the Swedes, the Finns, the Czechs, and the Russians. And he's 19 years old, and he's the men's national team. And then one of the games he had a hat trick, and I saw him. It's my first look at him. We drafted him that summer, and he's cycling and he's protecting the puck and he's playing the type of game that I think translates to the National Hockey League. And you're thinking you got a pretty good prospect. I think he was Rookie of the Year. And the next year we made a decision. Jimmy Nill, myself, we talked to Zetterberg and his agent. Were we going to bring him over? And we decided to leave him back in Sweden one more year. And I think he was the best player in the Swedish Elite League as a 20-year-old. The Olympics were in Salt Lake City. And for me, when in 2002, when Team Sweden picked their Olympic team, and every player on the Swedish team was from the National Hockey League, and Zetterberg was from the Swedish Elite League, obviously he's telling you that they think they've got a special player there too. And the next year, he came over and was the runner-up to for the Rookie of the Year. So that was sort of when with the Olympics, that to me was when you've got a good player. Now, how good, they got to get over, but you knew you had a good player. Datsyuk was different. Datsyuk was drafted I went over and watched him in those same Swedish games, maybe that year or the year after. And Pav just stayed out high in the offensive zone. He was conscientious defensively. And you kind of thought, well, he has a chance to be a third line center. I didn't see the offense. And then he came over to the NHL. And his first year in the NHL, I think he had 10 goals. And the second year in the NHL, he had 11 goals. And the third year, he had 30. And the first 2 years, whenever I talked to Pav, or I would talk to Mike Babcock and the coaches, we would drive home, Pav, shoot. And that's what I'm talking about, what I just talked about 5 minutes ago, about the players, evolving and adjusting. And that's what Pav went through. And then all of a sudden he went from being, third, we won the Cup in 2002. He was our third line center. And 3 years later, in 2006, Yzerman's retired, Fedorov's gone, Shanahan's gone. Pav and Z took over the team in 2006 for a decade. They were both about 25 years of age. And, I think that with Pav, I think it was about the third year when he took a big step. And he went from, like I said, from 11 goals to 30 goals. And then I know he had 2 years there where he had like almost 90 points, 30 goals and 90 points. And then he'd be as good as anybody in the league defensively, winning draws, blocking shots. But I think it was an evolution for Pav. I kind of think Zetterberg, we kind of felt that because of what he accomplished in the Swedish Elite League, and then playing for Sweden in the Olympics, you kind of had higher hopes. They're two of the best Red Wings ever. In 100 years of these Red Wings, in my opinion, those two guys are in the top 10. You look at the statistics, games played, all their accomplishments. They were great players, and they just grew into it. And I think they had great role models in Yzerman and Larionov. When Pav came over, Larionov, they would sit beside each other on the bus, on the road trips. And Pav couldn't really speak Russian or English, but so they, Igor. But they had role models and mentors, and so they were allowed to grow into. We weren't putting the responsibility on them at 21 or 22 to carry the franchise. They had that responsibility at 25 when Yzerman retired and Fedorov was gone. So they had role models and mentors in those Lidstrom and Yzerman and Fedorov was there for a short bit with Pav, and they were sort of allowed to had the time to grow into franchise players.
Yeah, well, I got a bone to pick with both of those guys because they they walked me on the wall a couple times, and I think Andy Murray had a heart attack trying to get me off the ice, and then I'd sit for 4 games. So I'm not happy with those two. But let me you know how that is. Oh gosh, it's embarrassing. They're good. But let me go back to 1995, and I know you weren't an assistant GM yet. You're still a scout with the Red Wings at the time, but you're in the mix, and you're watching this team in '95 just dominate. You got the Russian 5. You're doing all, and all of a sudden you go through the playoffs. And you hit the Devils, and you get swept by the Devils. Like, how was that? Were you guys surprised? Did you think you were going to go all the way with that unbelievable team? What happened with that series?
Well, I was the assistant manager. We were 12-2 the first 3 rounds. Yeah. And yeah, I think that we'd had in 92, I think we lost in the first round. 92, 93, 94. 94, we were 36 points ahead of the San Jose Sharks, and we got upset in the first round. The year before, I think we lost to Toronto in Game 7 of overtime. And another year, I think we beat Minnesota, and then we lost. But and I think we felt we were finally there. I think that, and looking back. The Devils had gone to like the 3rd round the year before, and I think they'd lost in overtime to the Rangers. Mark Messier, I think they beat them out. So they were a little more battle tested. We had lost in the first round to San Jose, and then the first 3 rounds were we were 12-2, and now in the Anaheim series, I think it was a sweep, but we had 1 game in triple overtime, 1 game in double overtime, 1 game in six single overtime, so they were harder than it looked, but it was a sweep. So yeah, I think we thought we were ready. I think we felt that we were going into that series, and that we were ready, and we were ready, and I think that. And I'm trying to, and then they just absolutely shut us down. I don't think we had many more than 19 or 20 or 21 shots. They had a big team. They had a great defense with a great goalie behind them, and they just took our space away. That was the time when you could stick you could be skating, the puck could be on one side of the ice, and you could put your stick in somebody's belly on the other side of the ice and just sort of almost lasso them along. It was a different time. That was illegal. I mean, shortly thereafter, the rules changed, but certainly that when that series was over, I think you kind of your head spinning a little bit, because now you're saying, where do we go? Where do we go from here? And then actually that off season, I think somewhere in there, it's way back, but I think that's when Scotty made a couple of moves to bring in. I don't think we had the Russian 5 in that year, but or maybe he did at the deadline. He brought in Fatisa, but they didn't play together, because the Russian 5, the first game, I think in 1995-96, I remember in Calgary, I was with the team, and I remember they put the Russian 5 together, and I think we beat Calgary 4-0, and Calgary in their own rink had 12 or 13 shots on goal. They never touched the puck. It was just keep away for 60 minutes, and that was the beginning of the Russian 5. And I mean, obviously they grew from there, but certainly, yes, in 1995, I think we'd gone through 3 rounds. We were 12-2. We felt that we had gone through all that adversity. I mean, you don't talk about it, but I think we're all feeling it. And looking back now, Jersey had done the same thing, but they had gone, they had a bigger disappointment the year before, as big a disappointment. So they were a real team. And as it turns out, looking back, certainly New Jersey, Detroit, Colorado, Dallas over the next probably 5 to 7 years, it's one of those 4 teams, I think, that wins the Stanley Cup. So we're playing one of the great teams of that era in a playoff series, and they schooled us.
Yeah, Cam's going to ask you what you had for breakfast in 1983 next. I mean,
he's got a good memory. I'm just saying.
That was pretty good. Because that's a while ago.
That's a while ago. My bad, Kenny.
Hey, I got to ask you. Listen, we had Mike Babcock on the podcast. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to any of it. Kenny, it was very interesting, and he was golfing with Hitch at the same time, so it was just very entertaining. entertaining when we had Babs on with us. But give us your honest take. Working with him all those years. You guys had some success. Obviously, he moved on. He went to Toronto. His reputation today is probably way different than it was during his heyday in Detroit. If a team called you and said, "Hey, should we hire this guy as a head coach?" Would you recommend that they hire Mike Babcock?
Well, I would, and I operate under the theory that we're all people and we all make mistakes. And if anybody's perfect, they can stand up first in front of the line. But when you make mistakes, we learn from those mistakes, and we do things differently the next time we get an opportunity. That's why I think when sometimes people get jobs in this league, whether you're coach as a manager, and it doesn't really work out. And then the next time they get a job, they're more successful than they were the first time because they've learned from whatever decisions that they made to make those decisions differently. So, Mike has incredible passion. He's got a plan. He's been a coach he's been a career coach. Part of your job, probably times have changed, but players have evolved. The way that we motivate and push players today to get them to reach their limits is differently than it was 10, 15 and 20 years ago. So I believe that, whatever decisions he might have made that, don't appear to be acceptable, that, given another opportunity, that he would he's a smart guy. I mean, he's a great family man. I mean, he gives back to the community. I mean, you go to the hospital, the hospital he did when I was there. I mean, he was doing things for charity, and people coming in from the Western, he do things in his hometown, Saskatoon, and people would come in and he gives back to charity, gives back to the community. I know his kids. He's got a great family, a great wife. His wife and my wife are good friends. So I'm thankful for the 10 years that we had together. He was a big part of us winning. He pushed our players, and I guess was he perfect? Probably not perfect. But it's again, I think that, based upon 10 years ago and 15 years ago, because we worked until from 2005 to 2015. So we're 6-7 years ago to 17 years ago. You'd probably, if you have another opportunity, you've got to try to get the most out of your players, but, a little bit differently than you did 15 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, the key is to be able to. You just got to be able to keep up with the modern times, right? Can you make that adjustment and learn from your past mistakes? I guess that's the biggest question mark. And nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. I think, but I think at the end of the day, I think, I mean, Mike went to McGill. I mean, he went to, he's well educated. I mean, he went to university. He went to McGill. Then he's gone through life experiences. He played. I think he played in Edinburgh. He played in the Scottish League, and then he came back and he coached Lethbridge. I think University of Lethbridge in the Canadian College League, and he coached Moose Jaw. He coached Spokane, and then he coached in the American League. So he's had he's had lots of life experiences. He's had he's well educated, and I think that that would lead someone to believe that whenever they get another opportunity in life, if they've made some decisions that people don't like, that the next time they'll handle situations a little bit differently. Okay, so now as a general manager, though, you've been around for so long, Kenny, and listen, the NHL went through their little pattern. They had the issues with, a couple of coaches who got fired on the spot for, different things, whether they said something or how they acted, how they interacted with their players. As a manager today, do you have to be more, pay more closer attention to what's going on behind the scenes? Because maybe in the past it was you just hand things over to your coach, let him do his thing. Do you have to be more involved now than maybe you were before? Because, I mean, people can be sensitive. Things can, have certainly changed over the years,
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Do you want my managing? Probably. First off, probably. Do I think I've evolved as a manager? I think so. I believe so. But I probably, because of my longevity and my relationships, I think probably the next generation, someone that's 35 years of age that gets an opportunity, is probably going to do it a little bit differently than I'm doing it. Right? They've grown up in that time. So I've got to make some changes, but am I more aware, more in tune with every day? Absolutely. Certainly it's a different time. It's a better time where, things are going, things are happening for the better. It's going to be a better, when we look back 10 years from now, we look back, I think that we're trying to make it a better world. It's a safer world, for our players, for our fans, more opportunities for more people. So as a manager, yeah, do I have to be aware? Absolutely. I mean, that's part of my responsibility.
Yeah, I get that. Let me ask you, how well did you know Bob Probert?
I would talk to Proby a little bit, but I wasn't hanging with him or anything. But sort of talking with him occasionally.
Well, if you were, we'd like to hear about that for sure.
You were, yeah, exactly. We're hoping you guys were going on motorcycle rides together.
You sure you didn't hang out? No, I just people are curious about him. You know how it is, and certainly I was growing up watching him. I don't know how the people react to him. He was so big, and we know he had his problems. I just want to know how he was in the locker room and around town and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, first off, loved in the locker room. I mean, he's protecting everybody, right? Yeah. I mean, when he played back then, I mean, everybody had tough guys. I mean, they were all over the place and multiples. We had Probert and Kosher. So then the other teams had tough guys too. So certainly those types of players that protected your teammates, they were. I think back to they were respected in the locker room because that was a tough job. I mean, they were fighting for themselves, but they were fighting for us all, right? They were trying to create a playing surface where the skilled players could go play and not worry about somebody getting them in their sights and trying to run them through the end board. So a guy like Proby would be well respected in the locker room. I think you don't really know a person's, life, but I think, we kind of knew that or sensed, I think that, you worry about him a little bit, the decisions that he's making, but, you find out after the fact, you start to find out after the fact when people, the things come out, the things that happen, but, I think was it the Goose Loonies thing one day in Edmonton one year in 1980. 7 or 8, night before a playoff game, some of our guys went to the bar in Edmonton at a playoff series, and so Proby was legendary tough, and he had the softest pair of hands. He could, I think then one year he had 25 or goals. Like he was big and he was strong and he was powerful. And
he made the All-Star team.
Yeah,
with 300 minutes of penalties.
So he was a very valuable player.
Yeah, he was. And one quick thing on that, you could always tell the people like him. And if the players like him, is when he gets in a fight, and you got your captain, Stevie Yzerman, literally standing on the bench, yelling and screaming, and basically
banging his stick, being
like a cheerleader. Like, it's just the coolest thing in the world. And, again, all of our fans just get a kick out of him and, of course, miss him, too.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Kenny, I'm curious your thoughts on that. I've asked, other veteran GMs that we brought on with us, whether it's Jim Rutherford or Lou Lamoriello, Doug Armstrong. Yeah. Do you prefer to work with... when you're doing trades and stuff like that, do you go to your go-to guys, the people you have a relationship? What's it like, dealing with the new age general managers versus the experienced GMs when you consider how long you've been around and how long you've been doing this?
That's a great question. I think, certainly probably a little easier to get a deal done with someone that you have a relationship with. You can have a conversation. Here's what I'm trying to accomplish. Here's what I'm trying to. Does it fit? But certainly you got to get deals. You got to be able to get deals done with all 31 teams. I think that's the importance of the general managers meetings. When we're all together, and then we go some days, some afternoon, they'll have a golf outing, and you get put together in a foursome, and they got some veterans and some young managers, and we have the general managers dinner, in March, and you get to sit at a table, and there's about 10 managers, and your relationship building. It's an opportunity. Probably the one. We have a general manager. Usually have a general managers meeting in November, right after the Hall of Fame weekend. We didn't this year because of the pandemic, but those are opportunities to kind of get some face time and get to know these other managers. I think life is about relationships, and certainly when you got good relationships, it makes things easier. So I would say to you, it's probably easier to get a deal done with someone that you've got a. I'm fortunate. Jim Nill, who's my assistant manager for 15 years as a manager in Dallas, and I haven't done any deals with him, but I've done a number of deals with Steve Yzerman when he was in Tampa. Now when I come to Edmonton, and he was in. And he's in Detroit. Don Waddell was my assistant manager for a year in 1998 when we won our cup. And we did a deal this offseason, Ethan Bear for Warren Fogle. So, I've done deals with managers that I've we work together, but I've also done deals with other managers. But that's certainly when you got relationships, it makes things a little bit easier. But ultimately, today after we're done, we're having a Oiler pro scouting Zoom call. It's December the 1st, and the scouts have been out there for about 6-7 weeks, and we're going to start to go through all the teams and evaluate our team, and you go through that process, and then you eventually work your way. The time for trades, for the most part, are at the trade deadline. And then at the draft, and you do all your evaluating and scouting and watching, and then I start to reach out to teams where I think there might be, either I'm a buyer and you're a seller, or I'm a seller and you're a buyer. And I've been both. In Detroit, I was a buyer. We had good teams looking to acquire, and at the end there, the last 3 years, we became a seller. We were going into rebuild mode, and traded Nyquist, traded Tatar, traded some veteran players to teams that were trying to go on runs. So I've been on both sides of the fence as a manager, and I think the most important thing is that there's a fit in the players, but certainly relationships probably help make deals a little bit easier.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny, you don't have to tell us. We know you were a buyer in Detroit. Okay,
yeah.
You guys spent so much money in Detroit, and obviously had a lot of great players. But what's your take on the salary cap? Like you've been around for so long. You were in Detroit where you could just add Luc Robitaille and Brett Hull and bring on all these guys and whatever, no cap, and you had a supportive owner, obviously, and now you got to work under the restrictions of our salary cap. So what's it like? What do you prefer? Or do you like the cap? Like, give us your take on that.
Well, I like, I take great pride, when the cap came in 05-06, the Red Wings were the last team to miss the playoffs in a cap world. So everybody else missed the playoffs before. In year 10, I think we missed the playoffs. We were at a $70 million payroll in 03-04. We had to go to a $39 million payroll, and we won the President's Trophy with 126 points. So, it's certainly people would say, oh, you guys just won because you spent more money. Well, I don't know. We didn't spend more money in 05-06 and 06-07, 07-08. We were coming from, we had to buy out Darian Hatcher. We bought out McCarty. We bought out Ray Whitney. I had to let Shanahan go. And in 06, we won the President's Trophy. 07, we went to the Finals. 08, we won the Cup. In 09, we went to the Finals, Game 7. So, I'd like to think it was sort of the job that our amateur scouts are doing, and the player development aspect, and the job that Mark Howe and his pro scouts did in helping us find guys like Dan Cleary and Andreas Lilia and Michael Samuelson, players that were looking for work. So I think that the salary cap to me is great for the game. It's in 09 after we went to the finals twice, we basically lost the line. Samuelson left and went and got 35 goals playing on a line with the Twins in Vancouver. Whittler went and played in the Russian league, and we lost Hossa to Chicago. And when Chicago won to they had to. I think they won the cup in 10, and they had a bunch of players. Bufflin was gone, and Ladd was gone, and I think it's the same thing as Tampa Bay. Just last year won the cup, and one line is gone. Right, Gaudreau's in New York, and Coleman's in Calgary, and Gurdy's in. That's the Cap world. We all live with it, and it's designed for competitive balance. I think it's great for the fans. But you still can be, if you draft good and you develop good and you got a plan, you've got your nucleus, you can still continue to be a good team for a long period of time. It's just that it takes your depth away. And if you get some key injuries, it's going to affect you. But so I think the Cap is good for the game. I think it's good for if you're fans of any team in the National Hockey League. If your team decides to go into a rebuild mode, I think that's a patient process that that's sort of I started that in Detroit before I left, and Steve has, kept on that. And it takes, I think the Detroit's missed 5 years in a row. The last 3 years that I was the manager, but you come out the other side, you can build it. But I think the Cap is good for competitive balance. It gives, if you're fans of a team, it's wide open, and you can still have a good team. You can still be an elite program over the long haul. So certainly we spent a lot of money in Detroit, but it was for like 2 or 3 years. But when we won the Cup in 97, 98, we were just a team in the league. And then when you win the Cup 2 years in a row, you got to. I mean, those players are going to want. They're going to want increases,
raises,
we had a committed ownership in Mr. Mizilic. They're not letting Fedorov go and Yzerman go, and they want to win. We went out and acquired Hull, and certainly when people think of Detroit, they probably think of the 02 team, from 02 to 04, but it was a 3-year window over 25 years, and of those 25 years we made the playoffs. 10 of those years were in a salary cap world.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, this is my last one, and you've been great, and we appreciate you coming on. But again, besides maybe those 70s Montreal Canadian teams, that one team that was just unbelievable, that 2002 Red Wings team's got to be one of the best teams ever assembled, right?
Well, we lost, we lost in the first round to the LA Kings in 6 games, and, we won the Cup in 97, 98. And now it's, we lost in, I think, the second round in 99, 2000, 2001, the first round LA Kings. And, we're kind of deciding what direction we're going to go. And I got a call from Darcy Regier, the manager of Buffalo Sabres. And he said that, Dominic Hasek wanted to be traded and wanted to go to a team to win the Cup. And we were on a short list of teams that he would go to. And, I think once we got the deal for Dominic Hasek, I had to trade Kozlov as part of the deal. We needed some scoring. I went out and, Luc Robitaille made a decision. I think he had got 92 points. It was a second team All-Star the year before in LA. He wanted to come, so we got him to kind of replace Slava Kozlov. And then Brett Hull sort of sat out there, and it got to be almost middle of August. We eventually signed we signed Brett Hull, and we got off to I think we were like 17-3-1 or something. I mean, we got out of the gate and we were humming, and then we kind of coasted to the President's Trophy, and all of a sudden you get into round 1 against Vancouver, and you're down 2-0. And I remember landing in Vancouver, after we'd lost game 2 Saturday afternoon at home in Joe Louis Arena, and then there was 3 or 4 or 5 cars of young kids that sort of unceremoniously drove with us from the airport, and they had brooms, and they were we were on the verge of maybe getting eliminated, and we found a way to get off the mat and won that series. And then I think about the third round against Colorado, we're down 3 games to 2. We got to go win a road game in Colorado, and then we won Game 7 at home, and then we were down to Carolina. Today you look back and say, there was a lot of, certainly I think 10 of those people on that team were in the Hall of Fame, but it's never easy. And that team got off the mat, and Doug dug deep, and certainly as I look back, and now you look back fondly on what an incredible group of people it was. It was a fun year, but it was a grind. It's always a grind. The National Hockey League, it's hard. It's hard. That's the beauty of our league and the beauty of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, golly, man. I mean, you brought it up, Kenny. So I'm going to blame you for having to answer this question. But the Colorado-Detroit rivalry. I mean, as a manager, how intense was that for you? Did you feel like a player on the ice when those two teams were battling, and everything that the fallout from the Draper incident with Claude Lemieux, when his face went head first into the boards and everything? Just as a manager, Kenny, what was that environment and that experience like for you?
Well, I mean, it was an incredible rivalry. I would say to you that in all the years I've been manager, the series that you said to me, what was the best series that you were ever involved in? To me, it was the 2002 third round Colorado. After 6 games, the series was tied 3-3. We beat them, I think, 7-0 game. They ran out of steam. They had a 7-game series the series before with San Jose, and they ran out of steam, and we were motivated coming home. But those first 6 games, they got Forsberg and Sakic and Hayduk, and every time when they had the puck, I'm sitting in the press box, and you're nervous, and then all you defend, and all of a sudden we get the puck, and I'm sure they were nervous, and the skill, and Adam Foote and Shanahan fighting, and certainly they had Claude Lemieux, and we had the grind line, and they had some other, both teams had toughness, and they had Waugh, we had Hasek, two along with probably Marty Brodeur, probably the 3 best goalies of the era, right? Waugh, Hasek, and 2 of those 3 goalies are in this series, so the series had everything, the best goaltenders, great players, superstar players. That was the 5th series. We played 5 series. I think that's the last time we played in a series. So they had beaten us 3 games, three series. We'd beaten them 1. So we won that series, and then eventually after 5 series, they won 3 and we won 2. But I mean, I think that when the schedule come out every year, I mean, that's one of the first things you looked at. When are we playing Colorado? I mean, we played them, I think, 4 times, twice there and twice at home, and in Dallas. I mean, we obviously had, Dallas was a tremendous, but there was a real, I guess there was respect and there was emotions. There was a lot of emotions in that series because of how good they were, how good we were. Certainly then the Lemieux hit on Draper and there was a whole lot of emotions. It was incredible hockey. It was it was special. I think anytime you're involved in a rivalry, emotional rivalry, and 2 elite teams, and then you get to play multiple playoff series. It creates incredible memories for not only those teams but those fan bases and for the sport.
All right, 2 more questions for you, then we'll let you go. I know you got your big Zoom meeting coming up. Chris Osgood, Hall of Famer?
Well, I think so. I mean, he won 400 games. I think he's in the top 10. I mean, I think he's under the radar. Obviously, we had so many great players. I think the perception was we won because we had these great players. We lost because of our goaltending, and you got to have good goaltending. You got to Ozzy. We won the cup in 1998. He was in net. We won the cup in 2008. He was in the net. Certainly, he was the backup. In 97 when Mike Vernon won the cup. But he won 400 games. He won a couple of Stanley Cups. So for me, yeah.
Okay. And then listen, I want the real. If I have to edit this out, I'll edit it out. I want the real answer here, Kenny. No hedging. All right, you get to pick 2 players: Yzerman Fedorov, Datsuk Zetterberg, or McDavid Draisaitl.
Oh.
Who you rolling with, Kenny?
Yeah. Oh, you got to. No, I agree with Andy on that. You got to answer this one.
I want the real answer.
Well, I got to live in the present.
Hey, and I respect that.
That's all history. But you know what? You've just nailed 3 incredible tandems of players, and I'm so fortunate and privileged to have watched, been involved with all three. But certainly, I'm going to have to. We play tomorrow night, so I can't live in the past. So it's got to be McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah, and I respect that. We didn't even ask you much about Draisaitl, who's an amazing player. But Kenny, listen, we wanted to get you on, and congratulations on getting into the Hall of Fame and just an incredible career. And all I ever hear about are these golf outings you guys go on to Scotland and everything in the summer. So I'm going to come caddy for you one of these years too, Kenny. Okay, we're going to make that happen.
You're welcome anytime.
You'll shoot your worst round.
Do you have a single-digit handicap? We're always looking for some field fillers.
He'll find balls and he'll scrub off your clubs for you. That's what he's going to do.
Yeah. I'll work on that.
He's a grunt worker.
Hey, listen.
See you, Kenny.
All the best the rest of the season too. Best of luck in Edmonton.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, that was Kenny Holland, man. Stories galore.
Yeah, man.
And opinions on everything, you know?
Yeah, he had well thought out answers.
Some people just make sense.
He does. He knows what he's doing. He had kind of weird interviews when he went to Edmonton about the Keith stuff. He just kind of had a weird
because the questions that were being asked were so stupid.
It just looked bizarre a little bit.
And like sometimes it's hard. Like you gotta bite your tongue. You can't say what you want to say sometimes. And it's like, well,
I get it. I just
here's how it works.
It was weird with it just was different.
People are like, why didn't you retain salary? And he's like, well, then you would have to give up more.
Yeah.
Like when when they're retaining salary, then now the price to get them, it goes up. It doesn't go down.
Yeah.
Now you got to give up more. Well, why would you trade for him? Well, I looked at his resume. He's pretty damn good. Like, you need to have players like that, even though they're not at the level that they once were.
I know.
There's some value to having players like that in your dressing room.
Yeah, I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. So I like him, though, man. I like him a lot. He's a great guy. Mm-hmm. Didn't have to come on. Stood on for an hour and 20 minutes with us. Answered every question.
Yes.
Even with my stupid questions about Probert. We wasn't stupid. I always got to ask about Probert. Our fans want to know about Bobby Probert. And he's like, well, I didn't hang out with him.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, that's not what I heard.
Yeah, I know.
He was cool.
No, it was good. Totally we got a lot of stuff out of him, man.
He was all, yeah.
I thought you were really good in that interview, actually.
No, those are where you're good.
No, I thought you were really
Dwight
good.
Schofield's calling me. That's funny.
Scoey,
what's he want? What do you need, Scoey?
He doesn't even know he's calling. He doesn't even know he's calling.
What do you need? But no, those are your kind of interviews. But he's great. Mm-hmm. He made me feel comfortable.
Would you move to Edmonton for $5 million a year?
No.
What do you mean?
Oh, $5 million a year? Yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to Canada.
That stupid ass scarf you're wearing.
I'm not going to Canada until things get normal.
That stupid ass scarf you got. That'll come in handy up there. Okay.
It doesn't matter what I wear. Andy, I could wear Wrangler jeans.
Well, I think you are actually.
They're from Kohl's. I look like a fucking badass shit kicker.
Your shoes are made out of wood today too.
These are fucking Kohl's. Oh, they're all cheap. I don't care. I can make shit look good. Yeah, I can make shit look good.
Well, there's something to be said for that. Good stuff right there.
I mean, I still got a cul-de-sac in the back of my fucking head, but other than that,
guess what? You won't have it much longer.
I need to go down to Boca. Okay, I need to go down to Boca and play some golf with old boy.
With our boy,
and I need to get this cul-de-sac.
Bill Hahn,
Billy boy, what's up?
He's the man.
Let's go. I'll go down to Florida right now. I'll tell you that right now.
I'll hook you up with a personal consultation with the one and only Bill Hahn over there at Hair Club. 800-279-7878. Cam.
Yeah, baby, call him up. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you look at yourself in the mirror and you see your hair growing back.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd be balder than the goddamn doorknob if I didn't have that surgery done with
you watch those Florida Panthers games. You see that big advertisement there on the dashboard.
It's on the right side.
Hair Club, baby.
I see it every time, baby. They know what's up.
They do.
They got some good shit going down in Florida. We got to go down there, see a game, hang out with Billy.
Well, dude, like he's invited me.
He invited me.
Well, he invited me.
These are my people. Okay, these are my people.
Well, I mean, hey, I may need it one day. You never know.
They're still my people, though. Let's be honest here.
800-279-7878. Yeah, that's true.
So true.
You can have that.
Well,
one.
Andy, I don't want you to look bad. I need you to look good when you're on TV.
Yeah, okay.
But Hair Club, 100%, baby. Let's go.
800-279-7878. Hairclub.com/Cam and Strick. That's our landing page. Book your consultation from there. You're going to get $250 off your first consultation. But if you call that number, I'm sure they'll give you that deal as well. Just mention us when you call our friends over there at Hair Club. CarShield.com. CarShield, man, our friends, Nick Hamilton. Happy holidays to everybody, the entire team over there
Happy
at CarShield.
Merry Christmas.
Everything.
Kwanzaa.
Everything.
Whatever. Everything. We love all y'all.
800-857-2481. Mention that promo code CAM. You're going to save 10%. Ask them about mentioning the promo code Strick. They may hook you up with a little more than 10%. They may just say for this holiday season.
Don't waste your fucking time.
Okay.
Don't waste time being stupid.
800-857-2481, CarShield and carshield.com. Of course, Bellman.com. We love Danny Boy, Kenny, Dale, everybody.
I want that shit kicker,
dude. They got cars for all seasons and all types of weather.
It's the season for a shit kicker.
It is. I might get a shit kicker, actually, when I think about it.
And you drive a Volvo.
Okay. It's a nice one. Dude, you were in the Volvo. Yeah. And what did you say when you came in?
After I got out of that thing.
Oh, my God. Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. All in Troy, Missouri. You just cross the street. Best customer service you'll get anywhere. 5 seconds, Cam. What?
Well, that ain't no swinging dicks.
Okay.
Your wife can go buy a car, and she'll feel comfortable and pure.
Yes, you go. Pure as mother's milk, as I like to say.
Andy, stop with these stupid-ass soliloquies.
Goodwill towards men, man, on that one. On Bellman and Bellman.com. Of course, Daredevil Hockey, all our friends, man, everywhere that we go with all our sponsors. Man, support the sponsors.
Yes, helps us out. Keep this thing driving, baby. Keep it driving.
Yeah.
We're going to change up a couple things, too.
We're going to have some music in there now?
Some music. We're going to make it a little quicker for you guys to know what we're talking about.
Well, we got to have chapters.
We're going to have chapters. We're going to break down games and shit like that so you guys know.
Are you going to break it down?
Well, we just goddamn dead. Would I say that? Did I say something stupid? I mean, if I do, who gives a shit?
No, it was good.
I don't know everything.
It was very good.
I don't know anything.
It was very good.
I just give opinions and entertain.
Yes.
Andy, you're the one just most know everything.
Hey, listen, we got Kenny Holland on this. We just had him on this edition. He was great. We got some other great ones coming up too.
Big time, awesome ones.
So people are going to certainly enjoy what we have
to
take you into the holiday season to finish off 2021.
Love all y'all.
All right, listen, everybody, have a great day. Keep supporting the podcast. If you want to be a sponsor, you want to join our team.
Bring it on, baby. We love you.
Hit us up. You can get our email address right there, camandstrick.com. Every episode, if you missed any, right there on our beautiful website, camandstrick.com.
See you, dudes.
Adios.